Hi, Ed here from keywordspeopleuse.com, and I've got an exclusive time-limited offer for you. If you book a product demo with Keywords People Use, I'll give you a free 7-day trial of our standard plan, which allows you access to our new content optimization tool. This tool hooks into your Google Search Console data so we can find all the keywords you're ranking for and what pages are ranking. We then crawl your site content and use advanced machine learning techniques like embeddings and cosine similarity to find you content optimization opportunities that will quickly boost your impressions and clicks from Google. This new feature in Keywords People Use is already showing results for people using it. Don't miss out on the opportunity of a 7-day free trial. Just go to keywordspeopleuse.com/demo to book your slot. That's keywordspeopleuse.com/demo. You'll find the link in the show notes of this episode. Hello, welcome back to another episode of SEO Is Not That Hard with me, Ed Dawson, as always. And today this is the 262nd episode of SEO Is Not That Hard, something that quite amazes me actually, as I never thought I'd get to 60 episodes, let alone 260. Now, it's quite hard work putting out 3 episodes a week and having, hopefully be useful as well and enjoyable to listen to, and to keep that up for 8 to 7 weeks hasn't been easy. But before you worry that this is starting to sound like an end of the podcast message, well, it's not. But because of a few reasons, I'm going to have to dial down the number of new episodes for a short while. So first of all, it's now springtime here in the UK. And for those of you who might not know, as well as SEO and businesses, we also have a small farm. And springtime means lots of jobs need doing on the farm after the winter. We'll soon be having sheep back on the land. And this fence needs repairing, fields needs harrowing, rolling, all that kind of thing. So that's taken up quite a bit of time at the moment. Secondly, the business side has got busier. We've got some new sites and tools launching soon, which you will be the first to know about when they come available to try. And that's also taking up a lot of time. And thirdly, completely unrelated to any of those things, one of my daughters is ice skating competitively. And she's needing to spend more and more time at the ice rink, and it's over an hour away from home. So I'm spending more time on that too. You're basically being dad taxi, taking her to ice skating, watching her ice skate, bringing her back. It can take a whole chunk out of my day. So with my time getting more and more in demand at the moment, and with still only the same 24 hours available every day, I've decided to dial back the number of brand new episodes I'll record for a short while. However, that doesn't mean I'm going to disappear from your feed. As the one benefit of having done so many episodes, I've got a really big back catalogue. And I've always aimed to make episodes as evergreen as I can. And also, I know that as my audience has grown, I know that many of you won't have heard some of the best ones I've put out in the past. So I'm going to be staying with 3 episodes a week, but for a short while, some of them will be best of episodes, or I'll pick out some of the best episodes that I think are the most relevant and valuable still to share with you. Even if you've heard them before, I think some of these will be ones that you will still provide great value a second time round. And of course, many of you will never have probably heard them in the first place anyway. I'm still going to be putting out new episodes as well, so watch out for them as they land. There'll just be slightly fewer of them for a while. So anyway, to start this best of series, here's one that was picked out by Richard Bartlett, who I interviewed recently. And it's relevant this week, as I know some of you will have been at Brighton SEO last week. And it's the story of how I once went to Brighton SEO and came back with over 1,000 new users for Keywords People Use without even speaking to anyone about it, using a little trick called the curiosity gap. So I hope you enjoy it. Hello and welcome to SEO Is Not That Hard. I'm your host, Ed Dawson, the founder of keywordspeopleuse.com, the solution to finding the questions people ask online. I'm an affiliate marketer, SEO, and I've been building and monetizing websites for over 20 years. I've built sites from the ground up, bought sites and sold sites in large exits. I'm here to share with you the SEO knowledge, hints and tips I've built up over the years. Today I'm going to talk about how we went to Brighton SEO and came back with over 1,000 new users without speaking to anyone. If you've never heard of Brighton SEO, then it's one of the UK's and possibly the world's biggest search engine optimization conferences. I think usually every time they run it, which is about twice a year in the UK, they get about 3,000 people come over a 2 or 3 day period, and it's a really big conference. Now, obviously, we'd not long launched Keywords People Use back at sort of this time last year, and I was looking at ways of how we can sort of get our name known and out there. And I checked out with Brighton SEO what their sponsorship packages were available. And we were working on a limited budget, and they had a package we could just about afford, and it allowed us to put a flyer inside their swag bags. So, when you go to a conference, you quite often, as you going on the way in, you'll get a free tote bag, which filled with some goodies, like you might get stress balls, that kind of things in, and a conference magazine and various bits and bobs that sponsors can put in. So we paid that kind of very minimal sponsorship deal to have a flyer in there. Now, obviously, our next thought was, what are we going to put on this flyer to have the most impact? Because, I mean, I've been to lots of conferences myself, and, you'll have a quick flick through all the flyers, but it's really hard to get engaged by them. Now, we thought, we've obviously got one chance at this. We've really got to think of something different. And we used a principle called the curiosity gap. Now, this principle is where you don't give everybody all the information they need to find out what something's about without taking another action. Clickbait is an example of this. You see it on the web a lot, where you're given some information, but to find out the full details, you've got to take another action. And we thought, how can we get this on a poster, on a little flyer, a little A5 flyer? So this is what we did. What we decided to do was to run a free prize draw. So obviously this is going to attract people's attention, because they'll just get this big flyer and it says on the front, "Are you a winner? Turn over to find out." So it's got our branding on the top, but then just, "Are you a winner?" So we're not trying to persuade them of anything about keywords people use at the moment. We're just trying to get their attention. And it's like, "Are you a winner? Turn over to find out." And when they turn over, it says to them, "Free prize draw. Have you won?" with an arrow that points down to a scratch card, like a little scratch box. So they have to scratch off the foil to find out whether they're a winner. It's like the kind of lottery cards, those kind of things. Now, when they scratch that off, it says winner. This is a little hint here. Every card was a winner of at least something. Now, the prizes ranged from free Brighton SEO tickets for the next Brighton SEO, keywords people use hoodies, and then lots of free subscriptions to keywords people use. So we were giving away unlimited subscriptions for 1 year, 1 year pro subscriptions. We also gave away all the different packages at different lengths of times, and everybody got at least, I think it was a month free of keywordspeopleuse.com. So that's still at least a $15 prize. So it says you're a winner. But the next point obviously was, if we just said what they'd won at that point, they might not choose to go any further with it. So we obviously wanted them to actually interact with us to then find out what they'd won. So what they had to do then was scan a QR code that was on the card to find out what they'd won. Now, when they scanned the QR code, it took them to keywordspeopleuse.com. To a special landing page that knew where they'd come from, knew what card they'd come from, and then just invited them to create a free account, because that was part of the terms and conditions, was to find out what you'd won, you create a free account. Obviously, people were free after that if they wanted to delete their accounts. There was no obligation to keep the account once you'd done it, but you had to create an account to find out what you'd won. And that was dead easy to do, because we can just sign in with their Gmail, or they could put in their username, create username and password if they wanted, but we made it frictionless by meaning that you can just sign in using your Google account. They then signed in, found out what they'd won, and were given the details. So if it was a physical prize, they were told, we'll get in touch with you, because we've now got their email address, so we can get in touch with them for the physical prizes. And if they'd won an account prize, then we just said, you've now won this account. That was it, basically. It was as simple as that. Now, we had no idea how all this was going to work, and I was actually quite worried to start with that people just weren't going to engage with it. So I went down to Brighton SEO for the conference, but didn't make a deal of going and speaking to people about this at all. I just sort of thought, we'll go and watch, and we'll see what happens. And I was thinking, if we get 40 or 50 people actually go through and create an account, that would be a good success. So now it was the point where we're just waiting for the conference to open, for people to get the swag bags, and then to see what happens. Now, at that time, I didn't have remote access from my phone to be able to see how account signups were going up. To do that, I'd have to go back to my hotel room, log into my laptop, and log into the database to see how things were going. So I was just sat there in the conference hall, sat on a chair, just waiting for the first talk to start that I was going to watch. And then this other delegate came down and sat next to me, and she got her swag bag out and started flicking through the flyers and stuff that were in there. And, as I suspected, most of them were just a 2-second look and then passed down, 2 seconds and then on. Then she came to ours and the "Are you a winner?" And she stopped and she turned it over. And I'm sat there, trying not to notice that I'm kind of sneakily peeking to see what she's doing. And she then scratches the foil off at the back to see if she's a winner. And it says she's a winner. Scan the QR code. And she gets her phone out, scans the QR code, and I'm just trying to keep it together and stay calm, because someone's actually doing what we hoped they would do. And then she scans, she creates an account, and it says she's a winner. I couldn't see what it was because, she was on her phone, but I could see her she went through the process. And I was like, wow, it's working. It's actually worked. This is brilliant. So I watched the first talk, which I can't remember what it was, but whoever it was good, because I didn't think it was a bad talk. But I watched this first talk and I thought, right, I need to go back to the hotel, get on the laptop and see how well this is doing. And like I said at the start with, I thought if we got 40 or 50 people go through the whole process and create a free account, then I would have thought that was brilliant. So here we are, maybe it was about an hour or two after the first people had getting the swag bags. I went back to the hotel room, looked, and we'd already got hundreds. It was probably 200 or 300 people had already done this, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And it was hard to tear myself away from the computer and watching as the ticker climb, as more and more people were creating accounts off this one flyer. I was absolutely astounded by the response rate we got from it. Then over the course of the next couple of days of the conference, we picked up just over 1,000 people actually went through the process. And then for the next few weeks and even a couple of months, we actually got about another 250 that came, because some people obviously had taken these swag bags, stuffed them probably in their rucksack, and then gone back to work. Week or two later, decided to go through everything that was in there, and then we're doing it then. But yeah, so it completely blew away any expectations I had on how well it might do. Now, obviously, because we were giving away, everyone won something. Everyone won at least a month for a free light account. It wasn't sales that we were going for at this point. It was reach. We were trying to get our name out there. We were trying to get in front of people in the industry, and I think, for saying that our only opportunity was to put a flyer in a swag bag, I would be astounded if anyone got close to that kind of response from just something in a swag bag. And I think that the real key thing here was that we used that curiosity gap. So we didn't try and persuade anything about us as a product on the actual flyer. It was all about, have you won something? And then making them do that physical process to start with, to scratch something off to see if they'd won. So we got them engaging with the flyer itself, and then the QR code to find out what they'd actually won. Because if you'd been told you'd won something, you would definitely want to know what it was. So yeah, it was a really, really successful campaign as far as we're concerned. In terms of costs, I think with the cost of the sponsorship and the cost of getting the flyers printed, I think it was about £2,500, so about $3,000, something like that. Which, for the amount of response we got, I was really pleased with. The people we got in front of, I was really pleased with. And also, as a side benefit, we actually picked up some backlinks. After doing Brighton SEO, we did see a little natural rise in backlinks from people who, I assume, must have seen us from this promotion at Brighton SEO. So it worked as a side effect. Has also been a backlinking campaign, which it wasn't originally meant to be. But that's why, if you create something good and get it in front of the right people, then you will build backlinks like that. At the end of the day, I think we were actually more successful with this promotion than if we'd taken like a next package up where you have a booth and you stand there and you talk to people. I don't think we would have possibly managed to speak to that many people and had that many people actually go through and sign up for a free account and get their email address, so we can then have carry on the conversation with them afterwards. So yeah, I was really, really pleased, and it's just a little tip here that to always look at what opportunities you've got, and sometimes you can make something far greater than what it initially looks like you might be able to achieve with something, if you just use that curiosity gap to keep people engaging with you. Thanks for listening, I really appreciate it. Please subscribe and share, it really helps. SEO is Not That Hard is brought to you by keywordspeopleuse.com, the solution to finding the questions people ask online. See why thousands of people use us every day. Try it today for free at keywordspeopleuse.com. If you want to get in touch, have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. I'm at Channel 5 on Twitter, or you can email me at podcast@keywordspeopleuse.com. Bye for now, and see you in the next episode of SEO is Not That Hard.